And hopefully you took the LSU plus the points and LSU money line we gave out yesterday, because if you did, you cashed both of those, and it made the win even sweeter.
Yeah, I was honestly a little worried, man, to see the effect of not having Pinson, especially on offense, but the facilitation of LSU's offense was great all night. I thought Gaines and Murray both did an excellent job of not doing too much, getting the Tigers into their offense, and they didn't really miss Pinson that much, at least the way I saw it.
So, I mean, obviously, the one word I would use to describe that game in general was gutsy. The win, gutsy. I mean, what you're talking about there, Xavier Pinson, that was the whole storyline going into the game. Was, all right, you gotta have someone step up and replace X. Eric Gaines did that in spades, honestly, last night. A career high 15 points. The decision making was very good. I know we talked pre-show about the lob at the shot clock buzzer. That was a great move on his part. Kept LSU in it. He closed the game out very well. That reverse layup was nasty at the end. That's about as good as you'll see it. And he made his free throws. Only missed one free throw on the night. So that took care of itself. But you'll remember, Mario, yesterday when we talked about the game and previewed it, we talked about it in the sense of it being a prove-it game. Likened it to Alabama-Auburn from Tuesday night, where, look, it's two teams fairly evenly matched on the stat sheet, but Auburn's got the edge just about everywhere, yet they're going in as an underdog on the road in a tough environment. Can you prove it and get it done and take that next step? Auburn did it. Okay, LSU was in that same situation, and they were going to be without Xavier Pinson. And then it got even worse because just of, quite frankly, bad officiating. Not that it cost one team the game or won one team the game, but when there's that big of a foul disparity, that's bad. That's just bad officiating. It just wasn't a good night for the guys in the stripes. And because of that, you saw a lot of foul trouble, and LSU ends up down 3 of their best players, and they just never quit. They proved it beyond a shadow of a doubt. The buy-in on this team is incredible. LSU might lose some games down the road. LSU will lose some games down the road. It won't be for a lack of effort. It won't be for a lack of buy-in. It'll probably be because they turned the ball over too many times, or they didn't make enough free throws down the stretch, or something like that. What they proved last night is that no matter what, missing 3 of your best players on the road. Florida never led in that game. Florida never tied. They never tied the game.
Got close. That was significant for LSU to not let them get over that hump and not tying or taking the lead back.
And missing Efton Reed, missing Tari Eason, missing Xavier Pinson to do that. How about Sharif O'Neal last night, man? That was so good. In order to, look, they dressed him against Auburn. They dressed him against Kentucky. He didn't get in any of those 3 games, Auburn, Kentucky, or Tennessee. But each time Will said, oh, if we needed him for 5 minutes or on a limited minute count, we could probably get that out of him. And his time's going to come. We just, we don't know when. Well, it came last night because of foul trouble at the end of the first half. And he helped close out that half very nicely. And after that, I tweeted out and I said, great to see Sharif O'Neal out on the floor to close the half. Hopefully, it's a sign of things to come for him. I didn't know it was going to be a sign of things to come for him in the second half, where he ends up playing 13 minutes, gets a block, 4 points, and 4 rebounds. He was massive last night for LSU. And it's just another weapon they have going forward.
Yeah, kind of similar to how we talked about Justice Williams and his first action against Auburn. I think that's a credit to Coach Wade. These guys don't know exactly when their number is going to be called, but Justice Williams appeared to be ready in that first game, and Sharif O'Neal was ready in this one. The announcer called it out on the broadcast. He goes right at Castleton for his first bucket, and after the foul trouble to Reed and to Eason, he stepped in. He did exactly what he needed to do, and he gave LSU some really good minutes down the stretch. It'd be really nice to see Sharif play some extended minutes down the stretch here, Musso. He wants to do his own thing. You got to respect that. But that being said, it's got to be really cool for older LSU fans to see Shaq's son not just on the team, but getting buckets for LSU. And he might play a bigger role as we go down the season here. But one guy that we know will play a huge role and was huge yesterday, you mentioned him momentarily, Darius Days from tip-off, man. Right away, after the opening tip, right to the basket, hits 9 of 14 shots. Very efficient. 20 points for Darius Days. And in the first 13 minutes, he had 12 points. Early in the game, he was big. And then down the stretch of the game, late in that second half, when Florida was making that run, it felt like it was bucket after bucket for Darius Days. And it was really good shots. He did a really good job working the mid-range game. He was fearless. He's the leader of this team. Maybe Tari Eason, Tari Eason is the front runner for SEC Player of the Year, and he's the most talented player. But I think Darius Days is still the leader of this basketball team.
I don't disagree, and you're right. And look, it's kind of what we've talked about with Days, the efficiency. But it was an efficient night all around for LSU. They shot 50% from the floor in that game. They only took 9 threes. They had it in their mind. It was from the tip, go to the rim, get in the paint. 42 points in the paint last night for LSU. They were all over the rim. And look, man, when they needed a clutch three, they got it. But kind of what you said a little earlier, said, hey, it looked a little shaky for a moment there. I'll tell you right, when I thought it, when I started to get like, oh man, I don't have a good feeling about this, is right around the 14-minute mark or so. So a little bit before that is 15:59. It was 15:59. LSU was up 13, and Gaines dribbled the ball off his foot and turned it over. And that's when Florida really started to take its run, and that's when things got out of hand from a foul trouble standpoint for LSU. Florida takes it up the floor. They score. When Easton's coming back up, that's when he has the offensive foul, which was a flop by Florida, but whatever. Anyway, move on. He fouls out. Florida gets the ball on the turnover. You get 2 quick fouls on Sharif O'Neal on back-to-back possessions. So now you have Easton with 5 and out. Reed's got 4, and now O'Neal's got 2. So it's like, oh, now he's going to have to sit as well. And Florida was able to really go on a run after that. They got it to within 3, 46-43. And at that moment, there was not a shot that LSU made that wasn't just a massively clutch bucket all the way down the stretch. That was with 13 minutes left in the game. It was 46-43, and every single shot in the last over half of that game was massive from LSU. And it was 3 guys. It was Darius Days, it was Brandon Murray, and it was Eric Gaines.
And I love the philosophy that those guys established on offense, man. It was a really, really good strategy of attacking the basket for LSU, who had 42 of its 64 points in the paint. They did a really good job not settling for jump shots. And I said the whole game, if LSU at least doesn't turn the ball over, doesn't let Florida get out in transition, I don't think the Gators are going to get over the hump. And LSU's defense is going to be good enough to take them home. That's exactly what happened. And it all starts with the guard play. Yes, Days deserves a lot of credit for the win, but Murray as well. The stats maybe don't jump off the page, but he displayed some excellent basketball IQ last night when they had to have it without Xavier Pinson. And then great performance from Eric Gaines as well. As we mentioned, 15 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists to 4 turnovers. Still don't love the ratio there, but made excellent decisions with the basketball, was calm, was controlled, did a great job of helping LSU get into his offense. 4 of 10 from the field, made a 3-pointer, but like you said, 6 of 7 from the free throw line, which is huge. And you see the evolution in Gaines' game, Musso. As a freshman, he was out there kind of just to make an impact on defense in spades, did some good things offensively, but now he's doing a really good job of, I think, towing that line of being aggressive, but also being a good facilitator. And LSU does not get the win without the performance from Eric Gaines last night.
Will Wade last night after the game spoke about what a win like this says about this year's team. Now 15-1 and 3-1 in conference play.
I mean, we're so connected. We're so tough. You know, we're going to lose some games, but it ain't going to be for effort and toughness and just being able to will ourselves to make things happen. I mean, Sark, I told you guys the other day, I mean, the tougher the circumstance, the better we are. I mean, it don't get much tougher than that now. We're on the road without, 2 of our 3 leading scorers. We're in a hostile environment, place we've played terribly at for a long time that y'all reminded me about yesterday. And we just dug it out. It wasn't pretty. It's not going to be pretty with this group, but I mean, we're fighters, man. We're fighters. And that's what we do. And that's what our program's about. And I was proud of our guys. See, they're looking at that locker room, man. That was awesome. That was fun. They were so proud. That was a sense of accomplishment. I mean, Tari with 6 minutes left, he took over the huddle and telling our guys, we're not losing. Like, this is what we're about. He showed tremendous leadership tonight, even though it wasn't his night. It was just a total team win.
That kind of just encompasses what I started talking about to begin this segment, the level of buy-in on this team. I mean, obviously, yes, you look at them at 15-1 and 3-1 in the league, and they're the number 1 defensive team in the country, and obviously that's the biggest, most obvious difference maker that starts out is what they've done on defense. But right on par with that is the level of buy-in. Think about a guy like Tari Eason. He's the front runner for SEC Player of the Year in a lot of people's minds. Should be in most people's minds, honestly. And I think it was Tom Hart made a comment on the broadcast last night, said he even could be the front runner for 6th man of the year right now as well. That's a guy who's been setting the world on fire in his first year in the SEC through 4 games. He played 7 minutes and fouled out. That guy could have sulked on the bench last night, but instead, you heard Will Wade there with 6 minutes left. He's leading the huddle. That's a tremendous amount of buy-in. That's the biggest amount of buy-in a Will Wade team has had since he's been at LSU, and he's had a team win a conference championship and make a Sweet 16 already. That's what I'm most excited about going forward with LSU, and that's what last night showed you. You don't win a game like that, missing all you were missing in a hostile environment with all the odds against you as an underdog, if you don't have a tremendous amount of buy-in from every single player on the team and every coach on the staff.
Yeah, and as good as they've been, like you said, winning his team in the SEC the last 3 years, I think Will's grown a little bit as a coach as well. He'd probably tell you the same thing, and the character in this team is apparent, and it seems like it's kind of gotten better and better as the season has gone. And I think the team last year loses this game. Maybe they lose it by double digits going away, but just excellent resolve by Will Wade. That's not lip service, what he's saying right there. It really was a full team effort. Like, LSU does not win this game without the basketball IQ of Murray, without the improved facilitating of Gaines, without Eason contributing before he fouls out, and then after he leaves the game, still continuing to lead from the bench. Like, these are qualities of a good team. And there's some good signs for LSU, besides just the 3-1 in SEC play, that this team can make a run in the tournament, because it is a team right now, not a bunch of individuals like maybe we've seen before with prior Will Wade teams. And that's a really good sign going forward for LSU. That was a great win on the road last night.